In this video, I'm going to be sharing 8 secrets to a successful studio apartment design as we style a space inspired by the 1960s interiors from a complete unknown. Because even Bob Dylan knew the struggles of making it work in a small space. So let's get into all those design secrets, and you're going to want to stick around for the last one because it's a bit unexpected.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Anne. I am an interior architect and designer, and I have lived in 3, arguably 4 studio apartments. So after I saw A Complete Unknown, I was inspired not only to make a video detailing how to emulate that 60s vibe, but also showing you how you can make the most of what might be a small living space. So House Beautiful did a great article detailing how they actually recreated Bob Dylan's apartment, which was a 3rd floor walk up in New York City. Technically a 1-bedroom, although you can see he actually kept the bed in the main area. So it was not only living, eating, sleeping, working. You can see that's a fold down ironing board being used as kind of a makeshift dining table. I read that he even bought wood and built some of the furniture himself. It looks like maybe he also made this lamp himself with the wine bottle. And he got a little bit creative hanging art from the fireplace mantle. So let's get creative in styling a studio apartment. Okay, so we are working with a studio apartment that's approximately 390 square feet. I think this is a pretty typical layout you see where it's obviously converted. So it's just a big-ish room with one wall of like kitchen, countertop, and appliances. So what we're gonna do first, we're actually not gonna change any of the finishes just to keep it renter friendly. So we're gonna start out with the bed. So in the movie, he had like a floor bed. I think he probably constructed some sort of frame himself. So I think a platform bed is totally cool and you can do without a headboard, maybe so it's flexible. But I did prefer that this one has some storage to it. So it has drawers on the one side while still being minimal. I think it has pretty good reviews from Wayfair. So after that, we get into a desk. He had a desk maybe under a window kind of in the kitchen area. I think you can do it next to the bed in a studio so that you can, have it doubling as a nightstand. He had one that was similar with the hairpin legs, which is like a mid-century detail. This Etsy seller does a really pretty version with live edge, and then you can choose some different elements to include like a drawer at the bottom or a monitor stand, and there's different sizes available. So I thought that was a nice company to work with. After that, he just had a folding chair for his desk. I don't think comfortability was necessarily prioritized. So instead, Article is a good place to get a desk chair. I thought that the detailing on the back with the wood was pretty. And also I like that it's on wheels and comfortable. So comfortable for working, and then also if you want to use it as a guest chair when you have people over. Okay, so tip number 1 is to do a roll-up room divider. This was inspired in the movie. They actually have like a bamboo tracked curtain over the kitchen, so you can use it to pull over those appliances. Obviously, putting a track in is not the most renter-friendly option. What I like about a roll-up room divider is that it can completely tuck away, more so than some of the other dividers that you see that might be folding. Plus, it's curved, so you can really kind of angle it how you want to. You can use it how I'm showing here to kind of separate the kitchen area from the bed. You could even kind of use it like as a headboard accent. So you could use it both as a divider or as like a feature accent, maybe behind you when you set up your desk for Zoom, so you kind of block off the rest of the space would be an idea. And you can completely bring it with you for your next space because I'm sure you could find a use for it there as well. So then the next secret would be adjustable wall shelves. This is something that they did in the movie. I found this great company, Wallnature, which sells these shelves, which are bracketed on the wall. So you can completely change the height depending on what you want to store there. I think it can be used for anything. You can use it over your desk to store some like office-y type items. You could use it in the kitchen if you're lacking some extra storage there. And again, just super flexible. You're going to find a use for this. The next one I would say is a movable but functional partition. So a lot of times in studios, you'll see people doing those IKEA cubbies kind of as like a room divider, which I don't love for 2 reasons. First of all, it's open on both sides, so I feel like the chance of things just getting like pushed through frequently is high. But also it doesn't have any secondary function other than just like collecting your stuff, which I think is better suited to the wall. So what I thought of doing instead is this functional fireplace partition. There's some different versions of these. This one is specifically freestanding, which I liked. So you can put it in the middle of the room, but you could also put it against a wall. You could turn it around. You could use it in so many different ways. It has storage, but it also has like a real electric fireplace. So you can get those cozy vibes if you want. My only complaint about this one is the back is not cute. So you would have to get kind of creative how you want to cover that up. Maybe you could panel it and then wallpaper it, hang some art on it, put up like drywall and paint it to match the front. Like you would just have to get a little creative if you did put it in the middle of the space. Versus this one from Mr. Kate is much cuter at the back, but I can't technically recommend it to be freestanding because it said it's supposed to be installed against the wall. But I did like the darker color too, if you have those light walls around to kind of break it up. They had in the movie these kind of like lattice, like net curtains. Most apartments come with like blinds, which are pretty good at blocking out the light. So this is kind of more just to soften the look, add a bit of color. I chose this redder color. Theirs were red in the movie, but more open, like these netted ones. So this company from Etsy does some different colors. I liked the red to bring in a bit of color, but otherwise you could go a bit more neutral, or that blue is kind of cool too. Again, something I haven't really seen lately. I think it was maybe more commonplace back in the 60s, but I like it. I think it's soft.
Unadorned and authentic.
So they had, which I kind of hate when apartments do this, when they do like a tiny little section of like linoleum or tile flooring in the kitchen area. I think it just makes it feel like broken up and kind of like silly, like we're pretending this is a real existing kitchen when obviously it was put in to make it a studio apartment. I would instead just do a runner to kind of define that space. I do like for kitchens Ruggable because they have that really cushy pad that can go underneath in case you do cook a lot. I think it's better for your like legs or body, whatever. What's nice about that is it's a quality pad underneath, and then you can replace out different runners on top periodically if you want to do that at a little less cost. My only recommendation with Ruggable, even though they're washable, I think you still have to go with the darker colors because in my experience, the lighter ones just still kind of show stains. And okay, the next tip, curves where you can. So not only for visual purposes, but literally to avoid like hitting your shins with lots of like points in the space. So I would recommend, here I'm showing this kind of like oblong area rug. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. What I like about it, you can do it like lengthwise, widthwise, or even diagonally, and it still kind of feels like fun and makes sense. And then curved tables. In the movie, they did have a curved black marble coffee table. It had those like mid-century splayed metal legs. I didn't find that exact one, but I found this one, which I thought was close. And then they did have one kind of like curved wood side table. I found these, they're triangles, but still curved, so still softer, and nesting. I think nesting tables makes so much sense in a studio so that you can have the littler one tucked under the big one when it's just you, and then you can pull them out if you have friends over and you need more spots for drinks, that kind of thing. Okay, my next tip is small scale swivel chairs. I think this just obviously makes sense if you're looking for more flexibility in a small space. I've even done this. Sometimes people have really long living rooms. So there's like a section on one side and a sofa on the other side, and we'll do swivel chairs so people can kind of like rotate between those two seating groups. He just had one like wingback, channel tufted leather armchair. So I think doing swivel chairs makes way more sense. A lot of times the base is actually quite small, so it's not taking up a ton of space, even like footprint wise. So I'm showing two of those here, but I think too, repeating something a few times in a studio kind of makes it feel bigger because your eye's not moving between like so many disparate things. So I would totally do two of the same chair if you like it. This is a West Elm leather that comes in faux leather options. And then after that, the lighting. So you can see in this clip how he had, they call it kind of like a tension rod, like floor to ceiling lamp with like 3 different lamps on it. This was super common mid-century piece that they just do not make anymore. So the link that I have, the one on the left, is a super cool vintage one. Hopefully it's still available if you like it. Theirs was all black, but I liked how this had like the red and light gray to it as well. These are just so functional. You can tilt the lights to face different ways, because the lamp's like elevated, you could put a table or other furniture piece like right up against it. On the right, I'm showing something that is currently made, which is interesting too. You can like combine multiple lamps on one of them or kind of, do a bunch in a row to create like a partition. So I think that's cool. He did have like a brass and black cobra lamp, which is from the 50s. And I'm showing that you could do two of them kind of like sconces over the bed without having to hardwire anything if you put them on those shelves over the bed. So I think that makes sense. He had like a wood table lamp that was pretty. This is just, I couldn't help showing this one because I love the vertical like wood detailing to it. It's a vintage piece, mid-century, obviously, so that I'm showing on the desk there. Okay, so tip number 6 is to use foldable but usable furniture. They had in the movie maybe 2 or 3 like foldable wood chairs, which totally makes sense because you can tuck them away when you don't need them, but they're still kind of taking up space and not doing anything. So I found instead this foldable step ladder / chair from Amazon. So I'm showing how you can use it in a few different ways. So here I'm showing how you could use it for shelves, for plants, like in front of the window, or you could use it as a step ladder to access higher cabinets, or you could use it as a chair when people are coming over. So I think this makes way more sense, not just to have folding chairs that tuck away, but something that you use all the time. So you can use it like for plants, for books, for whatever, most of the time. You're going to need a step ladder probably too when you live in a studio because you want to get all that vertical storage space. So I think it makes perfect sense. Talking about vertical storage space. So most apartments, they don't do cabinets that go all the way to the wall, right? Because that's more expensive. But sometimes they do have really high ceilings, especially in these older buildings that have been converted. So I liked this option from Home Depot because you can store stuff on top of the cabinets, but then you could also do cubbies on top of it. And I think the closed storage makes sense because maybe it's like not as cute pantry items or something. So just to have the option to kind of tuck it away, especially if you have wall shelves otherwise with a lot of stuff, just to not have too much like visual clutter. Okay, so tip number 7 is not to waste circulation space. I feel like you see this a lot where people kind of like tuck their TV and sofa into a corner, and then there's this wide circulation space, maybe from the front door to the kitchen or to the bedroom, whatever. Don't waste it. You can have people walk between the sofa and the TV to get places, and it's totally fine, and it'll make the space feel so much bigger. And finally, tip number 8 is the one that I said was a little unexpected, which is rearrange regularly. I think it's kind of funny to hear an interior designer say that because to a certain extent, our job is to set things up like so perfectly that you'll never want to change them. But I actually think, especially in a studio, it can be so energy and life changing to kind of regularly reevaluate and mix things up, even if you're just switching like the desk and the bed. It's definitely what I've always done when I've lived in smaller apartments. And I think that's why it's so important to pick pieces that are the right scale and flexible so that they can be used in different ways. Like that fireplace modular unit could be pushed against the wall to one side, or you can put the bed on the complete opposite side of the room. You can switch the desk up to face the window, might be nice, depending on kind of what you do for a living, if that makes sense. So I think that's the key that I haven't heard people say enough because it's so aspirational to get things perfect and, those vignettes and styling and Instagram moments and whatever. But truly, I think a lot of happiness and like freshness can come from being a little looser and willing to like reevaluate, rearrange, maybe even like your taste changed a bit. So that's why I love these shelves. You can change what's in them. You could hang artwork from them if you wanted. You can make it more like that's part of the kitchen if you're really into cooking and it has all of your, I don't know, cooking cookbooks and cups and stuff. So yeah, that would be my final takeaway.
Yeah, if you're asking.
So if you've stuck around this long, thanks so much for watching. This is a little bit different version of the normal like movie inspired videos that I did.
And I'm proud that we took that leap.
So I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know, or if there's anything like this you would like to see. Also, please consider subscribing if you enjoyed it and want to see more videos like this.
How many times do I have to say this?
I appreciate it so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.